everybody. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Where is my phone? Where's my phone? I knew I was missing something. Anyway, so as I said before this whole platform started getting crazy is that the discussion topic that we're going to be talking about is Joshua and the images that are depicted of him in churches around the world. Why it is that we see this man with blue eyes and blonde hair and white skin when we know that Joshua was from a Middle Eastern family. Okay, he was, brought up and raised in Bethlehem. We know that his father, Joseph of Arimathea, all right, and his mother, Mary, were of Middle Eastern descent. They weren't white people. They weren't fair-skinned people. All right. If anybody who knows anything about culture and people that are in certain demographic areas, we know that this is not the truth. This is not possible. Why? Because this is not. I'm gonna let you, we're gonna talk about where this depiction of Jesus came from, and the images that we see inside of churches when you walk in and you see this picture of Jesus, with fair skin and long golden hair and blue eyes, and why we get these depictions and where they came from. So let's get into it, shall we? First off, what I want to do is, let me get this set up real quick. Okay, what in the heck? What is this? Okay. Let me look at this real quick. So, for anybody who has not looked at the videos that I posted earlier on the Secret of the Unknown for this live content, I placed some videos, okay, underneath with Billy Carson discussing this very nature or this very subject about why about Jesus Christ and some other things. So let me go ahead and get this up. So that way we can see this real quick. Hi, baby. All right. So what you are seeing here, okay, is where you get your depiction of Jesus from. I don't know what the heck this crap is, but it's just an ad. So on the top here, you see a picture on the left is the picture that we all see of Jesus. And then on the picture on the right is the man who was imaged for the photographs of Jesus Christ, Caesar Borgia. Okay. So, setting out a real life model of Jesus Christ, you'd be hard punished to think of a less appropriate stand in for the Prince of Peace, Caesar Borgia. One of the most notorious members of the Renaissance, Italy's most notorious dynasties, the cruel Caesare was thought to be the inspiration for Niccolo Machiavelli's satirical handbook for would-be tyrants, The Prince. Thanks to his father, who became Pope Alexander VI in 1471, Caesare was made a bishop at the age of 15. Wow. So this guy that we are seeing is a bishop at the age of 15 because his father is the Pope of none other than the Roman Catholic Church, the creators of implementing Christianity and paganism together. And he also became the cardinal at age 18. So this man that's up here, Cesare Borgia, on the right, because his father was a pope, Alex VI became a bishop. Cesare became bishop at 15. Could you imagine having a bishop child right now at the age of 15 and then becoming a freaking cardinal at 18? How in the heck does that happen? So at this point in history, the Pope directly ruled over a kingdom that dominated central Italy Italy from its capital in Rome. And there he is. See kind of a resemblance there? Though a rising star in the church, Cesare financed himself a military man, and there was only one problem. His father had already chosen the career for his older brother Giovanni. Pope Alexander had appointed his bride and joy captain general of the church, the supreme commander of the Papal States Armed Forces. There's a Sacred Heart, Jesus. See the similarities there? That face? Yeah, boy. Coincidentally, in 47, Captain General Giovanni... Feedback here. Hold on. Take that loop back off. All right. Can you hear me? All right. So coincidentally, in 1497, Captain General Giovanni Borgia was found floating lifeless in the river Tiber. Caesar left the church, inheriting his brother's rule, titles, and his wealth, plus the title Duke of Valentinios, as a gift from the Pope's staunch ally, King Louis VII of France. Or the 12th. Yeah. There's his brother. The family were actually short of enemies and weren't actually short of enemies in Italy, but some suspected Cesare was behind his brother's end, perhaps even drawing the blade himself further. Borgia family drama comes from the fact that both Cesare and Giovanni shared a mistress. I wonder. Of Aragon, the wife of a third brother, Geoffrey Borgia, a notorious womanizer, Cesare fathered 11 known illegitimate children. There he is again. There's a nice little side shot. As papal warlord, Cesare rampaged across the neighboring Italy states. While at home, anyone who stood in his way, including family and friends, was done away with. So this man is made a bishop, okay, at a very young age. His brother, who was the military strategist, made by his father to be the head military strategist, and Cesare Borgia, who didn't like this, decided, well, hey, it might be a little bit easier just to have my brother killed, so that way I can take his wealth and his status. And not only was he disposing of his brother to gain notoriety and gain that wealth by having his brother removed, the dude was banging his brother's sister or his brother's wife and had 11 legitimate kids with him. So, I mean, this seems like a pretty tyrannical guy. So as a papal warlord, Cesare rampaged across the neighboring Italy states. While at home, anyone who stood in his way, including family and friends, was done away with. When his army rebelled against him, Cesare played peacemaker. He agreed to an amnesty and then, in a bad faith, ordered all the ringleaders to be taken care of. So people didn't like how he was handling things, and he went out and he was like, hey, I'm going to keep the peace here. And then everybody that, pretty much let their guard down, he ended up having them killed. This very strange idea that one of the modern images of Jesus is based on Cesare originally comes from a claim made by the renowned novelist Alexandre Dumas and picked up and expanded upon the biblical theorists. The argument goes that Jesus was originally depicted as appearing non-European. So this is where we go back into history and we find that they dispose of what is originally in place to fit the narrative that best suits them. Are you seeing where I'm going with this? Because this is something that I've talked about before. And like I said, this stirs up a lot of feathers with people because they, oh, well, if this is, this is heresy and this is, this is the work of the devil. This is not the work of the devil. This is just you understanding and being able to realize that the history that you've been taught is not what you think. Hi. If you can hear that, my little one, she's here with me because Mama had to take Big Brother to his baseball practice, so she's hanging out with Daddy. All right, so the argument goes that Jesus was originally depicted as appearing non-European. So the original pictures that we would think of what Jesus would look like, okay, Middle Eastern, probably brown skin, dark hair, probably matted, napped, or whatever, with a beard, brown eyes, darker skin, were done away with because he was Jewish. And this did not sit well with the Borgia Pope at the time. So in order to create a more European look, Pope Alec to a more European looking Jesus, okay, Pope Alexander VI commissioned a new painting of Jesus using his illegitimate son Cesare as their model. He then allegedly ordered the destruction of all art depicting Semitic Jesus, thereby popularizing one of the main enduring images of Jesus we have today. And so this theory goes, which is why you see, if you have ever seen on YouTube or you've ever seen on news clips of Vladimir Putin opening up the archives and showing this depiction of Jesus as a black man, yeah, that's something that's a lot older. All right. It's certainly true that the image of Caesar Borgia from this period is uncannily similar to the images of Jesus of Christ painting around the same time. Cesare even gazes serenely off canvas in most of his famous depictions. So, like the picture that you've seen, he's like, nodding, looking away, or he's got his head turned to the side. And in a lot of Jesus's pictures, that's what he is, like this picture right here, right? Turned to the side. And you've got Jesus's picture, turned to the side. All right. It's certainly true that the Caesar Borgia from the period, all right, Caesar even gazes certainly off canvas in most famous depictions. All right. His friendship with Leonardo da Vinci may have also helped popularize a particular depiction of Jesus that echoes Caesare's appearance. All right. So this goes along to say that even with Caesare's reputation, these two guys were even rumored to have been in a homosexual relationship, Cesare and Leonardo da Vinci. And that being said, I don't know if it's true or not, but if they were indeed, having relations or whatever, that's beyond the point. But the thing is that Leonardo's depiction of Jesus Christ in his paintings were used by his model, Cesare Borgia. A similar theory, which has long been floating around, posits that Jesus, as a Jewish man, was previously depicted as a Middle Eastern figure until the outbreak of the Crusades. Okay, so you got to remember, at the time of the Crusades, Europeans, it was politically unpalatable to have him resemble their enemy. So, we're going into the Crusades trying to take over Jerusalem, and these depictions of Jesus, as a Muslim or a Middle Eastern man sit right with these Europeans. And therefore, the reason why they had to change these images to best fit their narrative was because, you can't have your savior looking like somebody that you're trying to conquer or defeat in combat. Does that kind of make any sense? Does that make sense to you? I mean, I can understand where they're coming from and see why they did what they did, but you got to understand the narrative behind what is being done here is that they're taking these depictions of Jesus and twisting them to the narrative so that way it's benefiting them because they didn't want to have him looking like their enemy. And that seems kind of crazy, but that's just how it was.
Hey, I talking over here. What are you yapping about?
All right. So, and here we have a rare picture. It's called the Salvator Mundi, which was found. I'm not sure the whole details, but I just watched a documentary on this with these guys that, were going and they loved art. They loved art. Loved it, loved it, loved it. And they seen this painting and they were like, wow, this is pretty cool. So they buy it. Little do they know that this picture, this painting, was a lost artwork of Leonardo da Vinci's depicting, Jesus Christ, his depiction based on Cesare Borgia. And there is a lot of, I don't want to say, things that are surrounding this picture, because right here you have a picture of, a clear orb in his hand. Okay, you see him holding it in his left hand with these 1, 2, 3, these dots. And one of the theories is that the reason why he is holding this orb in his hand, okay, and it looks like a sphere, like a seeing glass, is that it is showing where he is from. Constellation. So, in similar theory, which has long been floating around, posits that Jesus is a Jewish man. All right, so they didn't want to have him looking like their enemy, so they had a recreation of what they wanted him to look like, so that it racial tensions. Go figure. One problem with this is that the timeline does not make sense. So they're saying that the timeline it was off, and that Borgia came after the Crusades. Another problem is that it ignores the evidence. Jesus began to appear as a figure with a beard and long hair in the 5th century, and his skin tones varied across the period. So you did have black Jesus, you had skinned Jesus, you had fair skinned Jesus, you had him with a long hair, short hair, beards. So it was just depicting, they're saying, of the area in which you put Jesus in. So they're saying one of the best paintings you can find is that if you want to compare a painting of Borgia to a painting of Jesus Christ, look at the icon of Christ Pantocrator at St. Catherine's Monastery in Sinai. Like Cesare, Christ Pantocrator has long brown hair, brown beard, and a noble face with defined features, a strong jawline, cheekbones, and it looked every inch like the generic depiction of Jesus, doesn't it? So that right there in itself is just, a little narrative just to go off of what we're talking about. The ancient depiction, the depiction of Christ came from. What the? I don't know why that did that, but that's crazy. It just switched on me. Okay, there it goes. All right, so let's get to the next one. Let me see this real quick. Yeah, like I said, my internet is so slow. All right, so as you see there, we're talking about Cesare Borgia and his lookalike to why they picked him for the face of Jesus Christ. All right, let's share this one. All right. So this next one that we're going to be going over is historical list of ancient texts that predate the Bible that are similar in nature, that have come way before what we could now know is biblical text, according to I think that's what it was. Give me a second. Sorry, I'm just editing some of this that keeps coming up.
Hey, baby.
What are you doing? Huh? What? What?
Hi. Hi.
That's so funny. Kids are the best. I love it. So weird. So I'm like, I'm having to um edit my